First heat for the street stocks, Ray Claflin and Dave Drake in row number 1. Dave Moore and Kevin Sorrell in row 2. Grego Lawrence and Robin Wood make up the 3rd row. Randy Yance, Jim Mason, row number 4. Skip Liberty and Andy Haywood make up the 5th row. Steve, should be a competitive heat. Dave Drake gets the jump. Some bumping going on in the back of the pack. Claflin holds down the 2nd spot. Kevin Sorrell is 3rd. They go 3 wide into the 3rd turn. Don Morin gets a bit loose. Dave Drake from Sable Forks, New York leads the first street stock heat. Ray Claflin runs 2nd in the 90. The battle for 3rd between Kevin Sorrell and Robin Wood. Wood starts to move up on the outside. He moves alongside Claflin. And they close the gap a bit on the leader, Dave Drake. More smoke out of the 05 machine. Battle for 2nd intensifies. Robin Wood now takes over. Randy Yance moving up. There goes Ray Claflin around. Claflin's ending up in the ditch. Back up front, they're going 3 wide, and Robin Wood has taken the lead. Randy Yance moves into the 2nd spot. Dave Drake gets a bit sideways. Now Robin Wood goes around in front of Randy Yance, and Yance will take the lead. Caution flag comes out as Steve Hayes, apparently there's some fluid on the racetrack and it's getting very slippery out there.
Absolutely. Up in turn 4, someone laid some fluid down that time by. Surprising this race is the 20 of Greg Lawrence, a car you had to consider a major threat to win. He went way to the back.
Randy Yance leads it in the 34. Jim Mason runs 2nd in the 79. Dave Drake holds on to the 3rd spot. Skip Liberty runs 4th. Caution flag is out in this first heat for the street stocks at Airborne. They get set to go back to green, and Steve, they've given Robin Wood his spot back.
Well, I'll tell you, Randy Yance didn't want to see that. Wood may be able to hold on to that 34.
Robin Wood just has the tone. He brings them into 3. We're 3 to 4, and we get ready to go out for
Randy Yance on the outside, Robin Wood on the inside. Jim Mason looking to move up in the 79. Wood and Yance side by side into the 4th turn. 2 laps to go, and it's a 3-car battle for the lead. Mason thought about making it 3 deep into the turn. 1 lap to go. Wood in the 24, Yance in the 34, and Mason in the 79. Who do you like? Oh, look out. Wood gets a bit squirrely. Mason bumped him. They're going to come down the stretch, and who's going to get it? It's going to be Robin Wood in the 24. Finishing in the 2nd spot was Randy Yance, and finishing 3rd was Jim Mason. And Steve, fantastic finish in this first heat for the street stocks.
Well, if the start-finish line had been about 10 feet farther down the track, I think we'd had a different winner.
Robin Wood picks up the victory in this first heat for the streets.
Robin Wood, second position going to the 34, Randy in. The third position. Going to the 79, and inside the 35.
Heat number 2 for the street stocks. Randy Haywood in the 82, Alan Matten in the 27, Mark Lamberton in the 21, the 35, Ron Weston. Street stock heat number 2 is off. They head into the first turn, and Alan Matten powers up on the outside, gets by Randy Haywood. Mark Lamberton makes an inside move and looks to go to second. Now Lamberton makes a move around side Randy Haywood. Haywood battles back on the inside. Good battle for the second, third, and fourth spots. Now Lamberton will take over second. Ron Weston moves up on the outside. Alan Matten continues to lead it in the 27. Mark Lamberton runs second. The 35 of Ron Weston has taken over third. Haywood has dropped to fourth. Halfway for the street stocks this time by. Mark Lamberton will try the outside. Matten hanging tough in the 27. Two cars have started to pull away from Ron Weston, and now quickly Lamberton just shoots right by as they head into the third turn. This time by. Mark Lamberton is home free. A battle develops for a second. Now Weston gets around Alan Matten, and he'll take over second. But back up front, Mark Lamberton has pulled away, and he will come down the stretch and pick up the victory. First heat, or second heat rather, for the street stock. Ron Weston second. Alan Matten finishes third, and finishing in the fourth spot was Randy Haywood. But Steve, an overpowering move by Mark Lamberton as they headed into the third turn to shoot by the 27 of Alan Matten.
No, the question was, what took him so long? Over the past few weeks, the 21 has been so strong, but it took quite a while to get by the 27 as Matten held him off quite a distance.
Mark Lamberton wins it in the second heat for the street stocks. Third heat for the street stocks, Jason Leo and Billy Fountain in row number 1. Chet DeVarney and Ron Klein in the second row. George White, Ralph Rockwell make up the third row. Bruce Dusablon and Jimmy Young in row number 4. Brian Williams, Steve Renadet in row number 5. Fountain gets the early jump. Leo drops to second. Tavarni moves underneath Ron Klein. He'll take over the third spot. Billy Fountain leads it. Jason Leo running second. George White takes over third. Ron Klein having his problems negotiating the fourth turn. He drops back to last. We pan the field and move back to the point where it's Billy Fountain in command. Jason Leo in the 8, George White in the 3. Halfway, Billy Fountain trying to hold off the challenge of Jason Leo. Thus far, Steve Renadet and Bruce Dusablon have not been a factor. Now here comes George White to the inside of Jason Leo. And White will take over the second spot. Dusablon has moved to fourth. Battle for third, Leo, Dusablon, and Steve Renadet in the 76. 3 wide, Renadet in the middle. One to go for Billy Fountain. He's got George White right on the back bumper. Now White gets the inside line. Fountain hangs tough on the outside. These two cars might come together. White nudges through. Here comes Renadet to take second. But at the wire, it's George White, Steve Renadet, Billy Fountain, and Bruce Dusablon. Steve Renadet made his move, but it was a bit too late.
It was a little late with 1 lap to go, but I'll tell you, keep your eye on the man in black, the Dale Earnhardt lookalike number 3. George White has been improving drastically over the last couple of weeks. He may have the solution to be Renadet.
What do you think of the pass to get to the lead in turn 3 and 4? Was it clean, or did he bump him a bit?
Tough call. They got together, but let's not say it was intentional or not.
George White gets the win in the third heat for the street stocks.
We're delighted you're with us, and we just remind you that we got
Flying Tiger heat number 1, Lester Armel and Danny Bridges in row number 1. Bucko Branham, Chris Durkee row 2, Doug Hoare, Pete Pecto in the third row. Danny Bridges jumps out to the lead. Bucko Branham moves on the outside for second. Branham drops back. Now Doug Hoare moves inside of Lester Armel, and he takes over the second spot. Bridges is your leader. Doug Hoare runs second in the 46. gets right on the back bumper of Danny Bridges. Doug Hoare has the inside line going into the third turn. And Doug Hoare will go to the top spot. Moves up in the 86 to challenge Danny Bridges for second. Traffic. Danny Bridges holds on to that second spot. 2 laps to go. Dennis Demers runs third. Pete Fecto is fourth. Demers drifted high, and that'll allow Fecto to take over that third spot. One to go for Doug Hoare. Second. Peter Fecto gets the third spot. Chris Durkee finishes fourth. And Steve, it seemed like old times there, seeing Danny Bridges in the lead at Airborne.
Well, he had the lead until Doug Hoare got to the inside in turn 3. A bit of a bump. I mean, even after he got past, Danny Bridges held on to second, and good turnaround for that car. He's had a lot of trouble since he debuted it.
Doug Hoare picks up the win in the first heat for the Tigers tonight at the Airborne International Raceway. Flying Tiger, heat number 2. Dennis Karen in the 07. Brian Hoare in the 45. Joe Thomas, 66. David Gay, 19. Those are the front 2 rows. The jump. Brian Hoare caught on the outside. Joe Thomas moves up alongside Brian Hoare. David Gay moves up along the inside. The leader, Dennis Karen from Colchester, Vermont in the 07. Red Mead tonight driving the car number 11. Engine problems during fast warm-ups on car number 1. Now Joe Thomas will try the outside. Dave Gay, important inside position, and now Gay will take over second. Halfway this time by for Dennis Karen in the 07. David Gay holds down the second spot. Joe Thomas runs third. Red Mead is fourth. Flipper Irwin is fifth. Richard Bootsy is sixth. Thomas moves up on the outside of David Gay as they battle for the second position. 2 laps to go, and it's still Dennis Karen with an impressive performance. Karen with one more turn to negotiate. He comes down the stretch and picks up the victory. Finishing in the second spot was David Gay. Joe Thomas finished third. And Steve, we're seeing tonight at Airborne that the outside groove is definitely not the place to be.
Absolutely not. Several drivers have tried it. None of them have been successful. You know, at the start of that, I would not have given Dennis Karen a prayer of a chance, even though he was on pole. He did a great job holding out to the top drivers.
Dennis Karen picks up the win in the second heat for the Tigers. Flying Tiger, heat number 3, Jean-Paul Cyr, Scott Carpenter, Mark Alanfair, and Kip Stockwell, Norm Andrews, Dave Whitcomb, the top 3 row. Cyr gets the jump in the 32, but quickly Carpenter looks to the inside and holds on to that second spot. Now Carpenter moves alongside. They've reversed their positions from the first lap. Carpenter takes the lead. Lanfear and Cyr battle it out in a battle of Ford Thunderbirds. Some bumping going on in the back of the pack. Carpenter leads it, Lanfear second. Cyr runs third, Dave Whitcomb fourth, Kip Stockwell fifth, Norm Andrews is sixth. Norm Andrews, they're running a bit high down the front stretch. Jim Silly looking to move underneath Kip Stockwell. Stockwell cuts him off. Scott Carpenter has pulled away, and we'll continue to watch this battle in the middle of the pack. Jim Silly and Kip Stockwell battling for fifth, with Steve Miller also looking to move up. To the outside of Silly. 2 laps to go for Scott Carpenter. You can see the lead that Carpenter has built up. Carpenter with about a 25 car length advantage. Mark Lanfear finishes second. Jean-Paul Cyr gets gets the third spot. And Dave Whitcomb finishes fourth. And Steve, an overpowering performance by Scott Carpenter. He was caught on the outside for the first lap, waited very patiently down the backstretch, let Sear take the lead, then he got the inside groove and just blew by him.
Exactly. He must have heard what we said about the outside groove at the end of the last race. You know, once he got the lead from the 32, it was his race to lose.
Scott Carpenter from Waterbury, Vermont picks up the win in his third Tiger Heat. Semi-feature time for the street stocks. Andy Haywood and Robin Wood in the front row. Randy Yance and Randy Haywood in row 2. Alan Matten, Mark Lamberton, row 3. Ron Weston, Billy Fountain, row 4. George White, Bruce Dusablon, and Steve Renadette round out the field. Gets the early lead, but Robin Wood quickly moves on the outside to challenge. Andy Haywood apparently has made the successful transversion from dirt to asphalt as he's got the lead. Robin Wood stuck on the outside. He goes back. Randy Yance moves to second. Inside of Randy Yance. Renadette is off the pace and headed to the pits. And listen to the applause from the stands. Randy Yance, Bruce Dusablon, and Mark Lamberton. Bit of a tangle in the backstretch between Billy Fountain and Randy Haywood. Looks to the inside of Haywood. And Haywood holds him off. But Yance has the inside line, a two-touch. And that allows Dusablon to take over second. Two laps to go this time by, and if Haywood wins this, he will have definitely earned the victory. Are banging each other. Dusablon spins, and White runs into him. Caution flag comes out as the two of Bruce Dusablon and the three of George White got sideways on the backstretch. And Steve, it certainly looked as though Haywood did not want Dusablon to go by and did anything to try to stop him, including running into the side of him. Well, he got the black flag for his efforts, but Bruce Dusablon a lap earlier gave a pretty good shot to the 08. One more time. Caution flag is out in the street stock semi-feature.
Number 34.
They get set for a restart. Andy Haywood has been black flagged and sent to the pits. Randy Yance, the new leader. Mark Lamberton on the outside runs second. Ron Weston is third. Billy Fountain is fourth. Now Weston and Lamberton doing a little banging, and Lamberton goes around. One lap to go. Back up front, the 34 of Randy Yance. The 91 of Billy Fountain. Yance comes down the stretch, picks up the win. Billy Fountain finishes second, Robin Wood third, and George White back to finish fourth. And Steve, a lot of banging going on in this street stock semi-feature, but Randy Yance gets the win.
Oh my, and keep in mind, these guys have a feature to run. Let's hope some tempers cool down, and we're going to have some mangled sheet metal before this is over.
What do you think of the call sending Haywood to the pits for running into the side of Dussablon?
Good call. It was obvious that Haywood was driving Dussablon high, but there's other drivers who have a tendency to lay metal. Let's see if it happens later tonight.
Randy Yance picks up the victory. A win in the feature will give him a triple crown. Flying Tigers semi-feature, Danny Bridges, Chris Turkey in the front row. Danny Bridges takes the lead. Here comes Doug Hoare in the 46. Bridges, Hoare, Karen, and Durkee, the top four cars. And we've got a spin in turn number 1 and 2 involving Red Mead in the number 11. Mead gets the car off the track, and Mead will going to fray. Danny Bridges trying to hold off Doug Hoare. Takes over. Dennis Karen runs second. Bridges drops back to third. Joe Thomas looks to move up on the outside. Doug Hoare in the 46 looking extremely good tonight.
It's that inside groove. You got to go wide to get by it, but no one's going to be able to do it.
Dennis Karen in the 07 runs second. Danny Bridges third. John Paul Sear fourth. Battling it out in the front end. And now Hoare gets a bit of an advantage, but Karen closes the gap coming into the third turn. get a chance to see what happened bringing out the caution.
Yeah, cars getting gas. They're up in turn 3. Pete Facto, Mark Lampier, and Scott Carpenter all going the wrong way. They all refight it, but it brings out a caution.
Caution flag comes out with Doug Hoare the leader. Dennis Karen running second. Jean-Paul Cyr third. And David Gay running fourth. Tigers get set for the restart in the semi-feature.
Our Chevrolet Illuminating car in on the course. This one's leading around. And Don, if he likes what he sees with Dylan Green, he goes from there.
Caution flag comes out as Doug Hoare got a bit too much of a jump on Dennis Karen. They'll try it again this time. And the yellow stays out as they're going to reshuffle the field.
And he's saying, guys, we're going to do it together. Down there, $1 50% of the first flag of cars going to the whole. Our lucky tickets number 50%.
Steve, what has surprised me so far in this is the top drivers have not been able to move their way up through the back of the pack.
Some of these guys who have not been top contenders are getting that way, and it's tough.
Green comes out this time, but Hoare has the lead. Karen will go backwards in the outside line. Cyr takes second. David Gay looks to follow him through. Two laps remain for Doug Hoare. Paul Cyr has closed the gap. It'll be a two-car battle for the finish. They're going 3 wide for the third spot. They come down the stretch at Doug Hoare. Jean-Paul Cyr finished second. And it looked as though, Steve, as the 07 of Karen held on for the third spot.
Yeah, across the line looked like 07. Guy you may want to watch in the feature, Dave Wickham. He is definitely suffering brake problems.
Doug Hoare from Colchester, Vermont, driving the Goss Dodge Aries, picks up the win in this Flying Tiger semi-feature. Hold on to your hats, the street stock feature is coming up next. Feature time for the street stocks. Ray Claflin, Dave Drake make up the front row. Make it through the first turn? The answer is yes. In the 05. Ray Claflin runs second. 3 wide. the back of the pack. Looks like Upper Cordelia Street on a Canadian holiday. Kevin Sorrell goes around in the 44. The battle continues in the middle of the pack. Now Ralph Rockwell goes around. They continue under green. And Ray Claflin has the lead. Moves outside of Robin Wood to take over third. There's Steve Rennedet. He's running right now about 16th place. We'll watch Rennedet as he tries to work his way through some of the traffic here. Top race cars in the street stocks in your picture, the 2, the 3, and the 76. Rennedet gets Grego Lawrence a little tap in the behind. Go back through the field. Claflin has dropped to the third spot. The 34 of Randy Ants, and this time by, it will be halfway. Ants looks to the outside. Third spot. We'll continue with a battle for the top spot. We'll do a field recap now as Weston leads it. Yance finishes second. There's the big gap. Third spot, Randy Haywood. Billy Fountain fourth, Skip Liberty fifth. Ken DeMarty runs in the sixth spot. Scott Foster is seventh. Ron Klein is eighth. George White ninth. Bruce Guzman is 10th, and Steve Rennedet is 11th. And the caution comes out. Time in this street stock feature. Steve, what brought that caution flag out?
Ray Claflin got tapped from behind, unable to control the car, put it in a spin in between 1 and 2. He actually sat there before the caution came out. I was wondering if we would see yellow.
Ron Weston leads it, and Randy Yance is second, and for these two cars, the last thing they wanted to see, Steve, was the caution.
Oh, you better believe it. Most of the top 10 drivers in the point have been running in the middle of the pack together this whole race, unable to make a move. We'll see what this restart does.
runs 11th. Look back through the field. He may have picked up a spot on that last lap. Here's your rundown. The 35 of Weston is in front. Gantz runs second in the 34. Andy Haywood is third. Billy Fountain fourth. Skip Liberty fifth. Chet DeVarney sixth. Scott Foster is seventh. Ron Klein is eighth. George White ninth. Deuce Blunt is 10th. Renadette 11th. Jimmy Young is 12th. Jim Mason 13th. David Foster is 14th. And Jason Leo rounds out the top 15. Get the green next time by. Looks to duck into that second spot. Now Haywood is taking over second, and DeVarney looks to make it 3 wide. Everyone gets through, and now DeVarney goes around. We'll see if DeVarney can get it back going. DeVarney does. Liberty is stuck in the infield. Back up front, it's Weston. Running in the second spot is Andy Haywood. Billy Fountain is third. Randy Yance is fourth, and Steve Renadette is up to fifth. Renadette now fourth. Now third. 2 laps to go. Trying to catch is the 35 of Ron Weston. Renadette has moved into second, but he's got about 1.25 laps to catch Ron Weston, and I don't think he's going to do it. You see the gap. Weston in the 35 comes down the stretch to pick up the victory. Steve Renadette finishes second. Looks like Haywood finished third in the 08. But picking up the win, Steve, his second of the season here at Airborne in the street stocks, and a well-deserved run. He got out front early, made his way through traffic, and held on in the final laps. Ron Weston.
Exactly. You know, earlier this season when he won, a lot of people called it a fluke. Well, he just backed up that fluke with a very impressive victory.
There's the second place car of Renadette. And also, Steve, a very good finish for Andy Haywood in the 08.
I'll tell you what, the 08 and the 76 knocked bumpers many times those last couple of laps. That may continue into next week, we would hope not, but 2 good drivers that may try to take each other out. The best finish of the season for Andy Haywood.
but picking up the win on his victory lap. Win number 2 here at Airborne. The 35 of Ronnie Weston. Flying Tigers get set for their feature. Lester Armel and Danny Bridges in row number 1. Robin Branham, Bucko Branham rather, in the 24. Doug Hoare in the 46. Dennis Karen and Chris Durkee make up the 3rd row. Pete Fecto in the 75 and Brian Hoare in the 45 make up the 4th row. And it's Joe Thomas and David Gay. Red Mead and Jim Barton. Richard Bootsy, Jean-Paul Sears, Scott Carpenter, Mark Lanfear. They get set for the green flag, this time by. On the outside, Bridges goes for the lead. Doug Hoare moves alongside Armel to take over 2nd. Like old times, Danny Bridges leading a feature race at Airborne. Doug Hoare on 2nd. Stretch. Mark Lanfear's involved. The 22 of Gary Karen is involved. There you see the Lanfear card. Yellow flag is out. Danny Bridges is the leader. And Steve, did you get a chance to see what happened?
Real simple. Out of 4, guys tried to win too many cars where there wasn't enough room, and it was just a lot of fender bending and cars getting out of shape.
So the first caution flag comes out. Danny Bridges, Doug Hoare, Lester Armel, Gary Karen, and Chris Durkee, the top 5 cars. Set for the restart, Danny Bridges and Doug Hoare, the top 2 cars. Drifts a bit high. And allows Doug Hoare that very crucial inside line. And Doug Hoare is going to take the lead. Doug Hoare gets the lead, Steve, and with the leaders in the back of the pack, it's going to be extremely tough Steve, it's going to be extremely tough with this being a one-group track tonight for the leaders to catch Doug Hoare.
Yeah, you're going to have to bump Doug Hoare, or he's going to have to break, or he's going to win this one.
Bridges may have a tire going down in the 9 as he is dropped severely back. Tangle on the backstretch. Norm Andrews is involved. Tom Tiller is parked out there in his new number 77. And the caution flag will come out. And once again, the leader, Doug Hoare, had built up a big lead, and the last thing he wanted to see was the caution.
That looked like Norm Andrews going into David Gay, but there's some liquid up in turn 2. A lot of the cars on that turn had been drifting high, and I think what happened was Andrews hit the liquid and simply went into David Gay's car.
We'll review the top 5 cars as we go to break. It's Doug Hoare in the 46, Chris Durkee in the 92, Peter Fecteau runs 3rd in the 75, running in the 4th spot is Joe Thomas, and Brian Hoare runs 5th in the 45. Flying Tigers under caution for the 2nd time in this feature event. They get ready to go back to green, Steve, and the question is anyone going to beat Doug Hoare?
Like I said earlier, unless he breaks or he gets bumped high, I don't see anyone getting past him tonight.
Inside, Chris Durkee outside.
Now the feature Tigers to go tonight, and here they come. Doug Hoare steps to the blue, and away he comes off the front line.
Fecteau looks to the inside. He moves to 2nd. Brian Hoare moves all the way to 3rd. Caution flag comes out. Brent Dragon has come to a halt off turn number 3. So the caution flag comes out for the 3rd time. Flying Tigers getting ready to go back to green. It's very possible, Steve, we might soon have a father and son battle for the lead. And quickly we do. Doug Hoare runs 1st, Brian Hoare runs 2nd. Has moved into the 3rd spot. They battle it out for 4th. Durkee and Fecteau. Action in the middle of the pack. Doug Hoare has started to pull away a bit from Brian. Milwaukee is off the pace. Steve Miller starts to move up, and there's caution on the track as a major pileup here at the front stretch. Joe Thomas is involved. Robin Branham's involved. Steve Hayes, what happened?
Chris Durkee obviously broke the front end, came right across the front of Joe Thomas. Thomas's car lifts in the air, goes skyward, and then head out into the wall. And after that, the track was just simply cluttered. No place for the guys to go behind them.
Second major incident for Mark Lanfear, also in the 49. Tough break for the Morrisville, Vermont driver, but we see he's out of his car and okay.
He is not having any luck. It certainly has to be for Thomas because he literally hit that wall at about full force, head on, with just no chance of slowing the automobile down.
Now we see Thomas getting out of his car. The story of this race so far is the battle that's developing on the front end. And it's a family affair because as we look back at the lead cars, it's Doug Hoare in the 46 leading and his son Brian, the rookie driver in the Tigers, running second.
Tell you what, if son should accidentally take father out of the lead, do you think the next family dinner would be nice to be at?
I don't think that's going to happen because I don't think the son is going to get close enough.
Well, he's going to start outside on this restart. Who knows?
The outside line has not been the place to be, as all the cars that have started on the outside have quickly fallen backwards, Dave.
Well, the car on the inside of row 2 for the restart will be Dennis Caron. Now, Doug Hoare and Dennis Caron waged the battle earlier. We know Doug Hoare came out of the front end that time. Maybe Dennis Caron will win this one.
Doug Hoare is 2 for 2 so far tonight, looking for the Triple Crown to make it 3 for 3. Caution flag is out. Tigers get ready to go back to green. 15 laps completed, 10 to go. Bootsy spins in a major traffic jam. Steve Miller is involved. Jean-Paul Cyr is involved. Looks like Peter Fecto in the 75 parked up there. Miller gets his 00 going as the caution flag will come back out. And they will reset the field with 10 laps to go. 31 cars started this feature event, 21 remain. And the top 2 are Doug and Brian Hoare. Dennis Caron in the 07, look to the inside, but he drops back. There comes Jim Silly moving up. But it's still Doug Hoare in the top spot. Dennis Caron is second. Brian Hoare is dropped back to third. Taken over fourth, Richard Bootsy fifth. Now Whitcomb moves alongside of Bootsy. And those two will battle for the 5th spot. this time by. He moves up on the outside of Brian Hoare. He looks for that third spot. Car spinning in front of the leaders. He manages to get out of the way, but the caution flag will come out. Closing stages of the Flying Tiger feature. Doug Hoare leads it, Dennis Caron second. Brian Hoare is third, Jim Silly is fourth, and Dave Whitcomb rounds out the top five. And Steve, this should be a great finish.
Well, Dennis Caron managed to get by Brian Hoare in the last restart, but can he do the same for the outside groove on the leader? I doubt it.
It's been passed. The pace is possessed by Doug Hoare. Doug, who started on the outside of row number 2, has been able to stay in the
safety crews on the track. Doug Hoare continues to lead it in the 46 from Colchester, Vermont. Dennis Caron from Colchester runs second. And Brian Hoare from Colchester runs third. You can see the fluid on the racetrack. So they'll have to take care of that before this feature event is restarted. Is taking over the lead as the 46 is off the pace. Now there's major trouble. Tiller spins, David Gay spins. The race is still under green. To go. You can still see the fluid on the racetrack. Jim Silly leads it. Richard Bootsy runs second. One lap to go. Silly picks up the win. Bootsy finishes second in the 13. Dave Whitcomb finishes third. Brian Hoare picks up the fourth spot. But the biggest disappointment has got to be for Doug Hoare in the 46. The race was his. Dennis Caron in the 07 rather, got into the side of him on the restart. And it was a restart, really, that shouldn't have even taken place because the fluid you could clearly see on the track in turn 1 and 2.
Oh, and to make it worse, a bunch of cars got together after that. They not only have fluid to the outside, they had debris on the inside, and the race still continued.
Ron Barcombe has resigned as the race director here at Airborne. And tonight, Tom Curley is running the show. And I'm sorry, but this is an absolutely atrocious call, or lack of, by allowing that restart to stand with fluid all over the racetrack. What do you think, Steve?
I agree wholeheartedly, and I'll tell you, the poor Doug Hoare definitely has a case to complain here because not only was the fluid on the track, but that restart alone, the fact the way it was done, they could have easily thrown a caution. There was a lot of cars not in position, It was just not a good situation.
Jim Silly gets the win. Richard Bootsy finishes second. And Dave Whitcomb finishes third.
And when we finish this one up, they're nowhere to be seen.
Napa Legend feature, and the caution flag is out before it even starts. Steve, let's see how good you are at picking winners tonight. Pick us a winner here in this Napa Legend feature.
I'll tell you why. He's been the hottest thing lately. I go right to the tail end. Shotgun 07 of Rob Clark to win it all.
Well, you're going to go to the tail end. I'm going to go to the front end. And I'm going to take the 10 of Roger LeBounty. So they get set, and we'll see if they get the green this time by. Maybe? No, not yet at least. Oh, just missing the wall. Roger LeBounty has built himself up a big lead. Some cars. Teddy Gatto in the 18. Oh my! Steve Dodge rams into the side of Junior Benoit. What do you think, Steve? There's cars everywhere.
Well, we expect that from the Legends, and right now, looks like Steve Dodge is going to be greeted with a black flag.
There's the leader, Roger LeBounty. He's built himself up a pretty good lead. What do you think of that second place car, Steve? Can he catch him?
I think he'll definitely catch him. There's plenty of laps left.
With fluid on the racetrack, he won. He's spinning. There's cars spinning everywhere. Oh, Clark narrowly misses. Look out, the 3 car is in trouble. Gatto nails the 3 car. Caution comes out. They're going to have to take care of that fluid. Russ Nichols is the new leader. And again, cars spinning. Ridiculous. They have not even left the caution out to try to dry this up. Our cars spinning everywhere in the first and second turns. You can see the fluid on the track. race, Steve, has been something else. It's been almost impossible to film.
It's obviously there was a few late entries to the demo derby this year because these guys are tearing up machinery.
The 9 car is running second, as Russ Nichols has about a half a track lead. But watching this 9 car is worth the price of admission because every time he looks like he's going to spin around.
He's been lucky so far.
And maybe this time he will. Now he's just going to kick up some more dust. It'll make us have to wash our car out. 5 laps to go. Rob Clark now spins. Russ Nichols is about to lap Junior Benoit. Leads it. Mark Yance is second. Joe Rotella is third. For Russ Nichols. And barring a catastrophe, he's home free. Nichols wins it. Finishing in the second spot, Mark Yance in the 9. And Joe Rotella finishes third.